Hello, my friends. I'm very happy today because I'm having a great personality, a person that knows very well astrology. I'm following his research the last years. I think that you're going really to have a lot of things to learn. Hello, Mr. Kolev. Happy to have with you today. So you are working right now in Bulgaria. You are from Bulgaria.
Yes.
And mostly the astrologers, we know you from your research in Babylonian and Hellenistic and traditional astrology techniques.
Yes, I research ancient knowledge, not only astrology, but everything connected with ancient culture, and not only knowledge, but also art. Mm-hmm. And especially the ancient Greek and Hellenistic culture.
Do you believe that we've made progress the last decades in understanding better the astrological systems of the ancients?
Oh, yes. This was a major step, a major progress in the last maybe 20 years. And in the West, in the Western countries, this started with the work done by Robert Hunt, by Robert Schmidt, by Robert Zola. They started in the West this campaign to translate ancient texts. However, in Bulgaria, we were more lucky because actually this process in Bulgaria has started in the 50s, during the communist rule, actually. In the 50s, in the 60s, there was one astrologer. By origin, he was Russian. He escaped to Bulgaria after the Bolshevik Revolution. Mm-hmm. His name is Fyodor Gruzinev. And he was very, very young when he settled in Sofia, Bulgaria. And he was an aristocrat, and he knew so many languages. He knew Latin. He knew, I believe he knew also somewhat of ancient Greek. And, all these languages, French, English, Spanish, Italian, German, everything. And he translated many things from Latin, from medieval and even from ancient authors in Bulgarian and in Russian. In these books, some is that, which are like unofficial books. During the communism, nobody was allowed to publish astrology books. So he printed them in 10, 20 copies. And I was very happy to find his students. He died 1 year before I visited Sofia. Like, I was then 17 years old. I was high school student. Mm-hmm. But I was very lucky to meet his best students. And I got all his books, and I started studying. So actually, I have had an advance of, let's say, like what has happened here in this respect was something like 40 years, 50 years before the Western so-called
before the Americans and the English ones started to translate the medieval texts and the ancient ones. And this is something that happened to the whole Eastern Europe. Is something that, for example, Eastern Europe was more aware of the traditional techniques, or is just about Bulgaria? That happened to Russia also, to Romania, or to other parts of the Soviet bloc, or was just something that happened just to Bulgaria, so the Bulgarians only knew all this stuff earlier?
Well, it was, I believe, only in Bulgaria, because in these times, Eastern Europe was communist, and it was very difficult for such people and for such knowledge.
Yeah.
And also this was very, very, very close circle of people. And many of them had big problems with the regime, with the police. So it was only here in Bulgaria. And also important thing is that this guy translated a lot of things, but it seemed to me that very few astrologers from Bulgaria picked this up.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very few. Because they didn't know languages, they didn't have the qualities, and actually this was more limited for a time being. But I believe that for me this was of enormous advantage.
Yes. So you've started, you have done a lot of research in Babylonian astrology and of course Hellenistic and medieval. But I'm going to start with the Babylonian tradition first, and I'm going then to ask you from the next ones. So you've done, I think you are the only one that you have done a very serious research on Babylonian astrology. I think the only book in the English word worthy of the Babylonian astrology is of Gavin White. I don't know if you know it. He talks about the constellations. So would be useful to do Babylonian astrology in a modern way, in a modern day world, or is just knowledge just to understand how astrology was started? It has any meaning or any kind of usefulness in our everyday world?
Oh yeah, of course. It's look, when we talk about Babylonian astrology, let me see something here. Okay, just a moment. Here you go. Okay, so when we talk about ancient astrology, when we talk about Babylonian astrology, it is not only the ancient astrology, it is the real astrology. It is the astrology as it should be. It is the astrology of the golden age. Because this astrology was life. It was living astrology. People were observing the sky. And ancient astrology, Babylonian, Hellenistic, Egyptian, is absolutely connected with observing the sky personally with your very eyes, with your naked eyes. You don't need telescope, you don't need anything. You just need to lift your glance to the sky and watch. So they had knowledge of almost everything that we know now about astronomy. I say about astronomy. And for example, they knew that the moon circles around the Earth not in a circular orbit. They knew that there is apogee and that there is a perigee. Because I have seen in ancient Greek manuscripts a picture of the moon, and two pictures. One shows it bigger and it says when it is close to the Earth, and the other one smaller and it says when it is more distant from the Earth. So if there is left somebody who believes that ancient astrology is primitive.
Some people think that this is outdated, but it's not.
If someone is left who believes that this astrology is outdated or not for the modern times, they are very, very mistaken, because the sky is above our heads and always has been. And this is the main screen, the main book for knowledge of the real astrology. And all the ancient astrologers watched the sky, especially in Babylon, in Sumer, in Mesopotamia. Later, when it was transferred to ancient Greece, then it started to lose this living aspect, because many Greek astrologers, they were more mental, and they transformed the Babylonian knowledge in some kind of mental scheme. Not all of them, though, not all of them. A lot of knowledge was kept, but also some part of the Babylonian knowledge got lost in ancient Greece. Mm-hmm. For example, I can give you example with the heliacal phases. Mm-hmm. Like in Babylon, in ancient Mesopotamia, they could compute the heliacal phases very exact. Mm-hmm. For they could compute them to the day of the appearance or of the disappearance of a given planet or a star. Like heliacal phase, you know what is this? This is like when the planet or the star is in conjunction with the sun. It is invisible to the naked eye, but when they got separated early in the morning before sunrise, you can see for the first time the planet or the star pops up shining for the first time. So this is called Helical Rising, and this is symbolically the birth of this divinity, which is connected with the planet, or the birth of this spirit, this principle, this planet. So when this knowledge went to ancient Greece, they lost the algorithm, how to compute the heliacal phases according to the Babylonians. So they accepted one more simplified algorithm, which is very, very simple. It's like when a planet is 15 degrees on the ecliptic from the sun, then for them, this was the decisive moment. Yeah. This was the moment when it will either disappear if it goes down 15 degrees, or it will appear when it goes up. Exactly. However, this is not correct. Yeah. This is not correct. No, I had exchange with Robert Schmidt several years ago on the internet in one space there, and I told him, because his program, I forgot what was the name, Delphi Oracle, because the program, which was I will say inspired by him, it computed the heliacal phases with this 15 degrees with the Hellenistic rule from the sun. Yeah. And I told him, look, Schmidt, this program, which was basically inspired by you, does not compute the heliacal phases correctly. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, this is what the Greek authors wrote. Mm-hmm. I told him, okay, I know this. I know what the Greek authors wrote. However, this is not correct astronomically and mathematically. And he said, okay, look, he got some philosophical explanation like, okay, this is 15 degrees, 15 left, 15 right, it is one sign, this is philosophically very important, and so on and so on. And then I tell him, and to the whole public in the last sentence, okay, look, do you mean that the signs in the sky, which are the heliacal appearances and the heliacal disappearances, which everybody can see with their naked eye, do you mean that these signs that God puts on the sky do not matter? If someone thinks that these celestial phenomena which happen on the real sky do not matter, this they are very far away from astrology. They are very far away from spirituality, and basically they don't believe in God and in spirituality. They say, okay, tomorrow you see Jupiter, for example. Let's say tomorrow you see Jupiter for the first time rising in the solar crown just before sunrise. Who will say that this is not a sign? Who will say that this does not have any meaning?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes.
Because astrology per se, astrology in itself, this is its basic principle. It is reading the signs on the sky. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And you have also a program. You have 3 programs. The one that has it all is Placidus 7, I think. Then we have the Porphyrios Magus that 2 that has mostly Hellenistic and Babylonian astrology. And do you have still the Babylonia, just the Babylonia program? It's just, I think, a program that calculates Babylonian astrology. Is that still working? Or you incorporate it with the others, so it's not alone anymore?
Actually, I have 4 programs, like Placidus 7. Mm-hmm. Then I have Porphyrios Magus, which is, Porphyrios Magus is this part from Placidus 7, which has all these modules for ancient astrology, Babylonian and Hellenistic. Mm-hmm. And so if you have Placidus 7, you have also Porphyrios Magus inside. But Porphyrios Magus is cheaper than Placidus 7. Also, in addition, I have Babylonia, which is specialized program for Babylonian astrology. It is, this program has parts which are not included in any other program, mm-hmm. but some parts are included in Placidus 7. And also the 4th program is called Sumer, mm-hmm. and it is in 3D dimension, mm-hmm. the astrology in 3D dimensions for Babylonian astrology and for ancient astrology, but also with the tropical, of course, zodiac too. I don't negate the tropical zodiac. There are many sidereal astrologers who completely reject the tropical zodiac. You know this, mm-hmm. and I think this is a very big mistake, because everything is important. Everything is a sign. You cannot eliminate this sign that somebody is born when it is minus 30 degrees and somebody when it is plus 30. Mm-hmm. Somebody is born when the strawberries come out on the market, and somebody is born when the crocodiles come out of the rivers. Mm-hmm. These are events, these are tropical sections which are very important, but it is the tropical zodiac can show us only a part of the human soul, of the human psyche.
So by looking at the sidereal chart and the chart that is based in the tropical astrology, what's the differences in the perspective, what we could see in a sidereal chart and what we can see in a tropical chart, why a person in a sidereal chart, for example, may be a Virgo, but on a tropical chart may be a Libra.
Yeah. Oh yeah, or somebody Scorpio in sidereal, Sagittarius in tropical. Yes. You see the sidereal chart, and also another point that I want to make, I can even show you how these programs work when you're ready.
Just to make you a host in order to have the ability to
share the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
One very important point is that astrology, the real living astrology, is observing the sky with your very naked eyes, and the sky is a sphere. It is not a circle. It is, the world is in three dimensions. The celestial sky is in 3 dimensions, and it has very complex movements. So we should observe this, and we should be able to imagine the sky. And this is the second principle, that we should do observations of the real sky, and second, we should do astrology in 3 dimensions, because the world is in 3 dimensions, space, the space. So this is, and something else is that in Sumer, my program Sumer is shows the celestial globe, but also Placidus 7 has such model which shows the celestial globe, and maybe I can show you now Placidus. Let's go. Let's see if I can share the screen. Yes, share the screen. Share the screen. Share. Okay, now you see the program Placidus.
Yes, now we can see the program.
And if I go to...
This is the Porphyrius Magus program, yeah.
Yes, this is the Porphyrius Magus program. I'll click here for now to see how is the sky now. It is for Sophia. And you see this model is also in Placidus 7. And also actually this model is Porphyrius Magus. So here you can see the sky, and you can see the horizon, which is this black circle, you see? Exactly. The black circle is the horizon. The blue one, the blue line is the meridian. And the yellow-orange circle is the ecliptic. And also you can see this is like two-dimensional chart, but also you can look at it as three-dimensional chart. If you look to the celestial globe, and the center is the South Pole. You see this center here, the center here is the South Pole of the ecliptic. So you see here also that the planets are wherever they happen to be in reality. So, for example, look here, Venus is below the ecliptic. Venus is with negative latitude. Oh, so we can see also the latitude. Okay. Yes, here the moon, you see the
and
moon?
at the same time, you can see also declination. So someone can see also latitude and declination.
Yes, latitude much easier to see. Here you see the moon is above the ecliptic with positive latitude.
Exactly.
And also you can see the constellations, the images of the constellations and the stars. Here, for example, when I for the first time look at a given chart, I go by the horizon. First, I go by the eastern horizon and I look if there are fixed stars or planets there. You see, I go all the way. I make a full circle. For example, now, well, Capella is a little bit very close to the western horizon, you see? And actually it is very close to the north azimuth here.
Yeah.
This is the lower meridian here. So you can see here so many things that you don't see in the rest of the depictions, how they depict the chart. You know, they depict it only in one dimension. They don't have even latitudes there.
Yes.
And you don't see fixed stars, of course. You don't see horizon. You don't see meridian. You don't see constellations. And it is important to know which exactly, like every planet, you look exactly where it is in a given image. Because every image has parts and every part has a meaning. There are like 4 very special regions in the starry sky, which are, I call them the sacred regions. Like I'll tell you, for example, like one of them is this region between the horns of Taurus, this one here.
Yes.
So if someone has there something, especially moon, sun, ascendant, MC, this person is powerful and has a great spiritual potential. Because in this region, we have 3 degrees, which the ancient talked about this, you know, including many Greek authors. And they were talking about 7 very special, very lucky, very sacred degrees in the whole zodiac. There are only 7. And 3 of them are in the celestial bull. Yes. So they are the 15, the 28, and the 30th. However, you know, this was written by Abu Mashar. Abu Mashar was using the tropical ecliptic, and he wrote about these degrees. So if you don't know much, you may start to think that this is in the tropical, but it is not, because there are Greek authors who wrote about these degrees too. And Antigonus of Nicaea, he wrote about these degrees, and he wrote that they are connected with fixed stars, and he even said about the 5th degree of Leo. This is one of these 7 special degrees. He said the 5th degree of Leo, we have there the star Regulus.
Yeah, which is
you know, Antigonus of Nicaea wrote this, and I have the full quote in my book, The Babylonian Astrolabe. I will show you now this title page. That's it.
Yeah, I have that. Guys, this is a great book.
Yeah.
This is a great, if you can buy it. It's not very cheap, but it is worthy. It is really worth the book.
It is, this is, here I put maybe 30 years of research.
Yeah, it's a great book, yeah.
And you can order it also directly from me.
Mm-hmm.
It will arrive quicker and it will cost less.
Okay.
This is very important to see exactly where are the planets in which parts of the images. For example, Hermes Trismegistus in Liber Hermetis, he says, like, for example, let's take which part here, like this part here in the beginning of Scorpio, like somewhere around the 7-8 degree of Babylonian Scorpio. He said that if someone has their ascendant or sun or moon, they will be able to acquire secret knowledge, occult knowledge about, you know, astrology, magic, alchemy, and this is because here above Scorpio there was one ancient constellation in Greece, which was the Cadutiles of Hermes. Actually, this staff with the two snakes.
Exactly, with the two snakes.
And here, if you see these two stars here, you see them? These two stars are actually the head of these two
of the two snakes. Okay.
And if I put more stars somewhere, we are able even to see this Cadutiles in given we have good conditions, because there is a line of stars going down and there are another line which is like circling around. So it is for example, this thing. Another, just to give some other example, is, for example, Hermes said that for the sidereal Aries, he said that in the 18th degree of the sidereal Aries, which is, I strongly believe that the Babylonian fixed zodiac is what the early ancient Greeks used. I have a lot of proof for this from texts. You know, like from Liber Hermetis, it is very obvious. From many places, like Valens, Vettius Valens, he writes the degree and the sign where the Pleiades are. And he says the Pleiades are around the 6th degree of Taurus. So guess where are the Pleiades in the Babylonian fixed zodiac? Right there.
Yeah.
Okay, Antigonus of Nicaea, he says, he says Regulus is in the 5th degree of Leo, and guess where is Regulus in the Babylonian fixed zodiac? Right there.
Yeah.
So there are so many data supporting this, and this is also obvious that maybe until the 4th century AD, the ancient astrologers used the Babylonian fixed zodiac. Mostly.
Mostly, yeah. Yeah, the changes came after Ptolemy, and slowly they started to adapt it, the tropical system, because of the Ptolemy. And as you said, it was a mental construction, not a construction that was looking the skies.
Okay, you see, it is the tropical zodiac was also actually, it was not invented in Mesopotamia. I would not say this, because I believe that astrology came up with the first human. When the first human appeared, then astrology appeared, together with everything, with the stars, with the fixed zodiac, with the tropical zodiac, with everything. But one thing I will mention here, that in Babylonia, they had tropical zodiac too. Actually, they had, I know about 4 zodiacs in ancient Mesopotamia. One of them is the fixed Babylonian. Another one is the tropical Babylonian zodiac, which is the same like the Ptolemaic, with one difference only. Only one difference is that the Mesopotamian tropical zodiac puts the spring equinox in the middle of the first tropical section.
Oh, okay.
Not in the beginning, but in the middle.
In the middle, okay.
Yeah. And also another very big distinction is that the names of these tropical sectors were the names of the Babylonian months, like Nisan, Iro, Siman, Duus, and so on. They did not mix the constellations. They did not mix the images on the sky, which are the constellations, with the tropical sectors.
Yeah.
They kept them
different. In order not to confuse them. Something that happened during the Hellenistic period. So another question, and then of course we are going to start closing the interview, because we are going to see you lots of times. You are going to do some seminars for the School of Mediterranean and Balkan Institute, so they are going people to see you in much more in depth. One more question is, so finally, if a modern astrologer, you want to use this system, want to use this astrology, would you say that this is going to be better for predicting events? It is useful for astropsychology, or is better for mundane events?
It is better for everything, Christos, for everything. Here, I show you this model, 3D model. This is in Placidus 7. Placidus 7. You see here everything. You see here even the arcs of the Placidian houses, and you can put Regiomontanus house, whatever you want, you can change here. So
this is very useful. Because many people do not know what is the house. They just see the separations, but they don't know in the celestial globe how this really works. It's very useful, very useful.
So about your last question, yes, it is better for everything, because this is the real astrology, that we take in account everything on the sky. This is the living astrology. And let me tell you about the difference in the when we look at the chart in the Babylonian fixed zodiac, which are the images, and in the tropical. When we look at the Babylonian fixed zodiac, a given chart, we interpret it symbolically and archetypally. and archetypal, not with many people when they start studying Babylonian astrology and Hellenistic too, they try to interpret the Babylonian chart as they interpret the tropical, and this is not correct, because the interpretations are in different way. The Babylonian chart, you interpret it archetypally. You look where are the planets. For example, if you have a chart where Mercury has just risen as an evening star, this is Hermes. This is Hermes. Evening, the evening visible Mercury is Hermes. And Mercury visible in the morning, this is Apollo. So these are two different divinities. And if you see a chart, just Mercury has risen as Hermes, as an evening star, let's say in the head of Virgo, you know, so this will be so much more powerful, because Virgo is actually the divinity of astrology in Mesopotamia. This is the divinity Nisaba. And this divinity is, it had mostly the same functions as Hermes and as Mercury in the later ages. So if you see this happening and this person is born with this on the ascendant, then, you know, this is absolutely powerful hermetic knowledge, a lot of capital in this spiritual realm, and so on. So if you see the same, but with Jupiter conjunct with Regulus, and in a heliacal phase after appearing, you know, this means fame and glory. This means leadership. This is Leo. Regulus is fame and glory, and kingship. And Jupiter there will give good luck, will give advancement socially, and wealth, and all these things that go with the fixed star and with Jupiter. So, and the tropical, the interpretation is more psychological, but the tropical can give you, on the average, a good picture of what the people project for the others in society.
Yes.
But the very, very deep archetypal structure of the soul can be seen only with the whole sky taken in account, everything.
I think that all these are very interesting, and people will sure want to know more. If you see my friends in the video, you're going to see all of the details of how you can communicate Rumen and how you can find him, his site, his Skype, his Facebook, and his phone. We are going to have a lot of seminars and a lot of things in the Mediterranean and Balkan Institute. So Rumen is going also to be here. We are going to translate in Greek. If anyone doesn't know English, we are going to translate for the Greek audience. Rumen, thank you very much for all of this great information. And this is just the basics. Babylonian and Mesopotamian astrology has a lot of information, and people will going to love it. Thank you really very much.
Okay, Christos, thank you very much for having me. I was thrilled to have this interview with someone from Greece, because I believe that the Hellenistic period in human history was the mini golden age. It was a period of freedom, of divine art. It was, you know, have you heard about anything about any books destroyed in this period, or any philosophers who were put on the stakes in the flames because they said that the earth is a globe? No, no. Why? Because this is the civilization of the sun, of the freedom,
exactly,
of thinking and of beauty and of art. And you are very lucky that you're born in this culture, and you can go much, much, much deeper there. So,
we are lucky that we are in this part of the globe. Thank you very much, and we are going to talk soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.